Well, it's been a long summer. I haven't had a chance to work on the camper project much with everything else going on. So this has kind of been put on the back burner since June. And now as the temperatures are cooling and a few things are calming down just a little bit, we're finding some more time to get back into this. In the last few days or so, I've gotten some trim up around the door. Gives it kind of a nice finished look there. In some of the last videos, I was doing some air conditioner work and trying to figure out a way to slide it out there. I didn't like the way it was looking either sitting in or sliding out. So I put the hatch back on, and we're going to revisit that project later on. And over the summer, I traded out my old Explorer for this Expedition. A good friend of mine said, "Hey, you want to buy my Expedition?" And the answer was absolutely yes. It's easier for us to pull the Jayco Kiwi, which is usually over on the side, as well as haul more materials around for these projects. For today, the next thing I want to work on is the roof. And I put a lot of thought into what I want to do for that. It's gone back and forth between fiberglassing and epoxy, which I've done many times on boats, to a traditional rubber roof, to something else, and this is what we're going to do. After a lot of research, I came across this peel and stick roofing stuff, and this is supposed to be used for, or can be used for RVs and for sunrooms and even flashing and things along those lines. It's gotten incredibly good reviews from different spots. So we're going to put this on. It's kind of a self-stick roll roofing that's got asphalt in it. And this whole run, this is 33 feet long and 3 feet wide. And this was about 115 bucks. And this should be plenty for the roof as well as the trim around the roof. And I went ahead and ordered also a heavy roller here to help push this down. And this is the smallest one they had. It's got some really good weight to it. So this is something that I've been chewing on for a long time, and we're going to see how this goes. I don't have another set of hands today to do this, so this is going to be interesting just doing it solo. But I think the way we're going to do this is we're going to cut that into 3 sections. The camper is just about 8 feet by 8 feet square. So we're going to cut it in 3 different sections. We're going to lay it out from the back going forward, because then the little bit of overlap will be coming from the front going back. And we're just going to cut those out, lay them on top of here, and then go from there. This material is marked for the overlap, so that's what those blue hash marks are. Obviously this is the top, and it's kind of a rubber roof membrane sort of stuff. And then the other side is what we peel off, and that's the self-adhesive. You can see some of that asphalt that's sandwiched in there. The camper, like I said, it's about 8 feet by 8 feet square, a little less. So we're going to cut this into the 3 sections and just lay this on the roof, and then we'll think about whether or not this can be done with one person or whether I need to put this aside until I have another set of hands. So let's cut this into 3 sections and lay it on the roof. That's the first section just sitting on here right now. We'll cut the other 2 and just lay them next to each other and give this some more thought. When I was thinking about how I wanted to proceed with this, I figured let's just give this a try. So I started with the edge and peeled off a little bit of the backing, got that anchored on the end, and then just slowly started pulling this out and pushing down as I went. This roller that I ordered from the same folks that I got this roofing from is fantastic. This probably weighs, I don't know, 5 pounds, 8 pounds, but it really puts some nice pressure down. And the standardization of the broom handle screwing in really helps. So we're just working our way across. We'll get this one done and then move on to the other pieces. The nice thing about this, I'm pleasantly surprised about, is how flat it lays as you're pulling it out. There's really no ripples, and whatever little ripples pop up, you can immediately push down. So this product is fantastic, at least so far. And we're going to have a little lip around the edges, and then for these sides we're going to put the same material up and over, so we've got a nice seal there. And then maybe for the corner piece here we'll use some aluminum L channel or something else there. But let's get going. There's the first piece. That went on really, really easily. Little thing to keep in mind, if you use this, use a decent broom handle, not a plastic one like I did, because the plastic broke off. So my next thing is to try to get the end of that broom handle out of there. So that should be fun. But then we'll move on to the next piece. But as far as this goes, it goes on really, really well. A whole lot easier than fiberglassing and epoxy, which is really kind of where I was heading. So we'll see. This is the way I'm doing this single-handed. It would be easier with more help, but what you can do is kind of pull this and then use the roller with a proper broomstick screwed into it, and then push that kind of underneath and keep rolling it down. We have the flat top covered. Still need to do the trim. As far as the sides, I cleaned that up a little bit so we won't have too much of a ripple underneath that side top trim, but we've got the roof covered. Stuff adheres really well. Looking good. For the trim that goes on those 2x4s around the top, since we've got extra of this, rather than ordering another roll that's smaller or a Turnabond or something else, we're just going to carefully cut this down and then wrap it around, and then it'll flop over onto the roof and make a nice seal with the roof covering. We have the roof all covered with the peel and seal material. That stuff is really easy to work with. And we've got our trim around the 2x4, around that roof ridge. What I'm going to use is some aluminum L channel for the lower section here. Just a little piece of scrap I've got up there. So that'll tie it all nice and neatly together. Let me get up the ladder and show you what it looks like. We've got some nice overlap with this peel and seal. Nice and watertight. And this stuff does adhere really well. When I was pulling a few pieces of trim off that I cut, it was really, really on there. So we're going to use the aluminum L channel for around those sides. Since the sun came out, I figured we'd push this out. It is super easy to push around with one person. Very light, very easy. And it's kind of cool to see this in the sun. That's just so cute. So we're getting there bit by bit. It's kind of interesting with the door step closed up. It wraps it up really nice and neatly. It almost looks like the door is hidden. It's another way to sort of lock it. That's the only way to lock the door. Not that it matters all that much, but that is really cute out in the real world. The roof was sort of one of the last things to do on the outside before I was going to start moving to the inside carpentry. We still have a lot of sealing to do, but at this point I may start moving on to the inside stuff, and that should be a lot of fun. Very cute. Let's take a look inside. Nothing's been done in there, but a lot of people are curious to see what it looks like. We still have the flooring from when I replaced that when we were using it as a pop-up. It's the other side of the hatch. So lots of potential in here, but nothing really done at this point. The plans are we're going to have 2 benches where the old benches were. I still have the frames for those. And there'll be a dinette here that will drop down and make a bed for 1 or 2 people there. Then for the front, we're going to have a little kitchen counter. So the counter is going to be about here. It's going to go across here. This will be over the little kitchen sink. We'll have some nice bright curtains here. I want to do some built-in shelving, some storage underneath. And this is where the porta potty is going to be. Initially, I was thinking of framing out an actual little booth for the bathroom, and I'm still sketching that out. It's kind of neat to be in here and see the sun coming through because I haven't seen that yet. It hasn't been pushed out into daylight yet. And of course for these, I can't do this with one hand. Squeeze those in, drop that down, we'll get some more light in here. So we're getting there, bit by bit. Fun project. Thanks very much for taking a look.